Our first presenter is Jeff Quartermaine, who is Managing Director of Perseus Mining, currently probably the ASX's most successful West African gold producer. Jeff has more than 25 years' experience in senior financial and strategic management roles with ASX and TSX listed resources companies. He is a certified practicing accountant who holds both business management and engineering qualifications. As Perseus Chief Financial Officer from 2010 to 2013, Jeff was a significant contributor to the team advancing the Perseus Edikan gold project in Ghana towards production, and then preparing the Sisingui gold project in Cote d'Ivoire for a development decision. Jeff was appointed Managing Director of Perseus in January 2013 and has since led the company in both production at Edikan, development and continued production at Sisingui, and as I'm sure he's about to tell us, the development of their third project, Yaouré. Jeff.
Thanks very much, Dominic, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thanks very much to PayDirt for giving me the opportunity to speak to this forum this afternoon from beautiful COVID-free downtown Perth. And I'd just like to make a special mention, though, of all of our African friends who are following today's proceedings by video link. It is a shame you were unable to join us, but I'm certain that with travel permitting, you'll be back again, and we look forward to your company again. Now, in the time available this afternoon, what I'd like to do is to give you some insights into Perseus Mining Limited, a very proud West Australian-based, West African-focused gold producer, developer and explorer. What I'll do is I'll start off by giving you a quick overview of who we are and what we do. And then I'd like to give you a bit of a brief insight into our strategic thinking, exactly what drives us in going about our business in West Africa. I'll then run through our operations one by one and give you some insights into what they each of them do, how they contribute to the Perseus Group, and very importantly, how they contribute to Africa as a whole. Now, finally, sustainability or ESG, as it's currently referred to these days, is something that's it's a very well talked about topic, and I believe there's a group session coming up shortly, in fact, on that particular matter. But I'd like to add to that conversation by talking a bit about what we at Perseus have done to sustain our business in West Africa to date, not only in the past, but also what we're now doing in terms of securing our social licence to operate for the future. So without further ado, we'll move on, if I can make this work, and with our usual legal disclaimers and all. So Perseus Mining, as I said, we're based here in Perth. It's an Australian company. We're very much West African focused. We've got a couple of operations running at the present time, one at Edikan in Ghana, one at Sisingui in Cote d'Ivoire, and we're about to bring our third mine into production fairly shortly, very shortly in fact. We've done fairly well over the recent times, particularly helped by the gold price. We've got a very strong balance sheet and cash flows. We work very hard at our social licence to operate, and we're supported by a very experienced team of executives and board members who have helped guide the company through a few challenging years, but more recently into a very successful times. Now, if you look at our strategic thinking, so as far as we're concerned, our mission is to generate material benefits for all of our stakeholders in fair and equitable proportions, and we go about doing that by producing gold, developing where we can, discovering, etc., etc. And we have as a specific objective at the present time that of producing around 500,000 ounces of gold per year at a cash margin of not less than $400 an ounce. And I'm very pleased to say that where we are at the present time, we're well and truly on the path to doing that. And with the third mine coming on stream shortly, we'll be producing at those sorts of rates. Now, our strategy for delivering that objective is fairly simple, actually. As I said, we invest in assets, we acquire through both inorganic and organic means properties. We look for geopolitical diversity. We develop mines. We've now, the Yaouré, our third mine, is the third of the properties that we've developed, and after an interesting start, we're starting to get fairly good at it, having worked very closely with one of my fellow speakers this afternoon, Peter from from Lycopodium. I think that, that is something that we are doing well. And producing gold, we've turned ourselves into a very consistent, reliable producer, producing, month in, month out, generating returns on funds employed for our shareholders. A key part of that is our investment in people. I mean, a lot of people say, people are our greatest asset. There's no doubt about it that we need to continue to upskill our people. Without that, we don't have very much at all. And in a similar vein, our licence to operate is incredibly important. To have the best assets in the world and the best people and the most money, but unless you're welcome in your host country, then you really will struggle. And so we do work hard at maintaining that social licence to operate. The other thing that we do is we recognise that good enough is never enough, and we strive continuously to try for that incremental improvement every day, and that's something that's part of the culture of our business. We try to find incremental improvements to continue what we're doing. So if we have a look at the assets that we have in the portfolio, so as I said, 2 producing gold mines, one in Ghana, one in Côte d'Ivoire. The Ghanaian property is a longer life property than the other one, although the Sissingué property in Côte d'Ivoire is, we hope to be able to extend that fairly shortly as well. Edikan was our first mine. It's a large-scale set of open pit operations. We started that in 2012. We've produced about something like 1.7 million ounces of gold from there to date. We've been working at replenishing the reserves as we go forward. We've currently got 7 years ahead of us, and we've got some really interesting ground very adjacent to our tenements that we believe will, with suitable exploration, will help to continue the life of that property for many more years to come. Sissingué is our newest mine. We brought this one on stream in the first quarter of 2018. It's very different to Edikan. It's smaller, higher grade, very high margin, and it's one of the best mining situations I've been associated with in terms of the actual performance of the mill. And what we've been able to do, it cost us $106 million to build. We were able to pay that back in its entirety within 26 months of the very first gold being poured, so that was quite an achievement. We recently acquired Exor Resources, which is a small exploration company that holds a 2,000 square kilometre land package just down the road from Sissingué. And we started drilling down there a couple of weeks ago, and we're very hopeful that we'll be able to, through discovery down there, be able to keep ore fed to the mill for quite a number of years to come and extend the current 3-year life to well beyond that. You can see from this slide here, I mentioned that the consistent performance we've delivered. It's pretty clear to see that, quarter in, quarter out, averaging around the 65,000 ounces a quarter, bringing our cost base down. It's something that we've really worked hard at doing. Our third mine, I've mentioned Yaouré a few times. This is one we acquired in 2016, and it's well and truly on track for producing gold in accordance with our stretch target of December this year. And as I mentioned earlier on, we've been working very well with our friends from Lycopodium on this, and I think it's an absolute credit to both teams to be able to do what we've done, particularly in an environment where COVID has caused a lot of challenges, but both teams have been able to put their head down and get on and build this project. And as I say, we're within a very short period of time of being able to pour our first gold bar. This is a project that I think is going to underpin Perseus for many, many years to come. The exploration potential around here is absolutely outstanding. We've used the high-size technology developed here in Perth to take a look at the surrounding tenement areas, and from what we've got back up from that so far, I think that the future is looking outstandingly good there. When you bring the 3 properties together, this is what's in front of us off the existing reserve base. So without any further exploration success or extension of any mines, Perseus will be producing around the 500,000 ounce of gold a year from fiscal 2022 onwards. And if we're to sort of keep gold prices anywhere near like they are today, you don't have to be much of a mathematician to figure out the sorts of cash that this is going to be generating. Last quarter we generated about $630 odd an ounce, and if we're doing that over 500,000 ounces, then there's a lot of cash to be generated, which can then be redeployed into the things that we do best, which is to manage our balance sheet, manage our future growth, return cash to shareholders, and to provide benefits for all of our other stakeholders. Now, I'd just like to talk about this for a bit of a moment. I've just spent a bit of a time talking about our assets, but you know, without a social licence to go with those assets, then really there is really not very much at all. As I said, our corporate mission is to generate material benefits for all of our stakeholders in fair and equitable proportions. And it's that last part of that sentence that is the tricky piece, the fair and equitable proportions, because each of our stakeholders feels that they're entitled or that they should receive a bigger piece than the other, but as everyone knows, you can only cut a cake once. And so the challenge for us is to be able to distribute those in a way that everybody feels that they're getting benefit from us being involved. Now, what this means, I guess, is that for Perseus to deliver on our mission, we must conduct our business in a way that ensures that our presence in the country, in each of the countries where we're operated, is genuinely welcomed by our hosts, not just tolerated, but generally welcomed. And we believe that the best way to achieve this is as follows. So looking after the environment in which we operate, with the intent that when we leave, and we will leave one day, we leave behind a physical environment that will be as good, if not better, than what it was when we discovered. The second thing that we focus very heavily on is living within and contributing to our host communities in such a way that we are an influence for good. So, in other words, our presence has to have a net positive effect on our local community. And in this regard, as a matter of course, we spend significantly on funding infrastructure, providing employment, funding health initiatives, education in particular. And we also look after our people, because our people, most of our people, live in those communities. And so we do everything we can to keep them safe, well rewarded and fulfilled. And we believe that if we can do that, then we are delivering a positive net benefit to that community. And finally, what we seek to do is to apply the highest standards of governance that we can possibly do. When we conduct our affairs, we as a very minimum, we ensure that we comply with all local and international laws, regulations and practices, and things that are important to all of our stakeholders. So what is important to Perseus is maintaining the highest possible standards of environmental, social and governance, or ESG behaviours that we are capable of doing. And taking into account that occasionally there are conflicting needs of the individual stakeholders. Now, for some people, this is a new concept, you know, and we're here, it's wrapped up in a shiny bow, and people talk extensively about ESG. Well, you know, for what we do and have done, this is not new. This is what we've been doing forever. And so, you know, I think it's put us into a good stead to date, and I'm sure that in the future those benefits will continue. Now, as I'm sure that many of you know, the United Nations has published a series of sustainable development goals that are intended to increase global prosperity. And as I'm sure you'd agree, that's a very, very noble sentiment. Now, we've considered these SDGs, as they're referred to, very carefully, and we focused our efforts on several that we think, in fact on two of them, that we think will have the most impact on our host communities and the countries and our people. And I'd like now just to talk very, very briefly about a couple of these goals and just to illustrate the sort of things that we actually do on the ground. So the first of these would be the SDG number 3, which is good health and well-being. Now, the recent COVID pandemic and our response has been a good example of us walking the talk, so to speak, and trying to bring about good health and well-being in our host communities. With the appearance of COVID earlier in the year in West Africa, it's very apparent to us that not only were our employees at risk, but also our host communities and to an extent our host governments were likely to be seriously challenged by the pandemic. And without waiting, we implemented a series of programs aimed at doing the best we could to keep people safe. And what these programs entailed was we put in place island mode around our operations to make sure that people quarantined. We donated quite a lot of goods and services to our local communities, providing medical supplies to the clinics, disinfecting high traffic areas, conducting public health announcements on local radio, and of course donating money to host governments. And that is always welcome. Now, we don't seek to claim credit for anything. There was lots of people who were involved in the response in West Africa, and a lot of people contributed a heck of a lot more than we did. But I must say we are very pleased by the fact that through the efforts of all of the people and ourselves involved, we were able to keep infections at a minimum in the countries. And in fact, to the extent that at Edikan and Sissingi, we haven't had a single case of COVID at all. And certainly in the local communities, there's been very limited evidence of infection. At Yaouré, we did have a couple of cases, but these were immediately contained. So given that many of our employees actually live in the local community, this was definitely a win-win situation. And it also meant that we could operate our business throughout the crisis without any major negative impacts. And by doing this, two further groups of our stakeholders benefited, namely our shareholders and also our suppliers of goods and services, because we hardly missed a beat as far as all that was concerned. Now, the second of the goals that I think is worth highlighting is SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. Now, as a matter of principle, we at Perseus, we always support local business and organisations as a first option in procurement, with the caveat that these suppliers need to be able to provide and perform to the standards that are needed for an operation such as ours. Now, to just illustrate the point, so at Edikan, our mine in Ghana, we use a Ghanaian mining contractor, Rockshaw. We use a Ghanaian fuel supplier, Zen. We use a Ghanaian caterer, Primus, etc., etc., etc. Just about all of our contractors are local companies, and they do an outstanding job for us. So why wouldn't we use local when we can? Also, in terms of hiring and training programs, we give priority to local employees as often as we can, particularly locals as we refer to them. And then by local locals, I mean people who actually live in the host communities in close proximity to the mine. And just to put this in perspective, I just note that at Edikan we have 438 direct employees, 437 of whom are Ghanaians. 38% of them come from the local community, and I should say also that 11% are women. So, you know, we try to encourage people to get into the workforce as much as we can. Similarly, at Sissingi, 200 of the 218 employees are Ivorians, 47% from the local community, and that, once again, 11% are women. And actually, it's 54% if you exclude the security staff from our numbers. I mean, you know, as most mining companies do, you tend not to use local guys in your security force for obvious reasons, but you know, certainly around half of our employees come out of the immediate catchment area of our mines. We also undertake training programs at each of our sites, and this is not restricted to vocational training. We also work pretty hard on building leadership skills, management skills, etc., etc. And this is designed to not only improve work performance while our people are with Perseus, this is to give them with lifelong skills that are transportable and can be deployed elsewhere long after our mines are closed. And as for our new mine at Yaouré, we're currently evaluating how we can cooperate with the local technical college in Yamoussoukro, and I see Jesus from EPSA, our mining contractor down the back here. Hopefully we'll be working very closely with EPSA as well in the technical colleges to mount up some really excellent training programs such that aren't, you know, specifically aimed at our people, but also the broader community. Once again, with the aim of improving the pool of talent in country and giving people the opportunity perhaps to take roles elsewhere, but certainly positively contribute to the national economy. Now, look, I could speak on this subject for hours because it is of real interest to me, but I won't, I can assure you. The bottom line is that you know, the well-being of our employees and communities is of real importance to us at Perseus. And in fact, our commitment to operating a sustainable business in West Africa goes well beyond the box-ticking exercise that a lot of us are encouraged to involve ourselves in. So, in conclusion, I guess that's Perseus in a nutshell. As a company, we've come a long way in the last few years. Shortly after I took over as CEO in 2013, I think the company was valued at $100 million by the market. Today, that valuation is pushing around $1.6 billion. Thanks very much to the gold price overnight. Very happy about that. And within 3 weeks or so of now, we'll be producing from three mines and making a major contribution to, not only for our shareholders, but a major contribution to our local communities and our host countries. And I think what we will be doing in the process is positioning ourselves to have a very long and fruitful association with our many, many friends and business partners in West Africa. So thanks very much for your attention.